This is Stacy McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast, where CEOs, senior leaders, and C-suite executives share their advice. It's 6 questions in 9 minutes because the best leaders know how to share their ideas concisely and quickly. Let's jump right in. Question number 1. In a few sentences, tell me who you are and what you do.
I am Angie Franks, and I am the CEO of Central Logic. We are a technology company that serves health systems and state and government authorities with orchestrating patients to the right care in the right location without delay. So we quickly move patients to the care that they need.
Oh, I can imagine that during this heightened crazy time, you have been incredibly busy.
Yeah, it certainly has shed a light on the need for our solutions across health systems and regional and governing authorities. It's the time here with this pandemic is all about ensuring that patients get the care that they need and don't further contaminate others. So it's been an important time for us.
So grateful for your service then. I'm glad you're here.
Fun.
Question number 2 for you. What's the best thing about leading people from your perspective?
I think the best thing about leading people is seeing them grow, taking on new challenges, solving problems in different ways, stretching what maybe they thought was even possible, and really growing their skills and experiences and ideas and just stepping up.
Do you find that sometimes people are a little bit more rigid, less like Gumby, and more resistant to some of that stretching, or what have you found?
I think if you create the environment where it's okay to fail, it's okay to not have all the answers, then that rigidity goes away, and people, I think you give them the opportunity to surprise you.
I love that, because I can see where you're saying, that spine might straighten more up when that environment where the need to be right is
Right.
more celebrated than, kind of the celebration of the flexibility and the nimbleness that would come with making mistakes, maybe.
Exactly.
I often hear from other leaders that business would be great if it weren't for the pesky people part. I'm curious, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think people that feel that way perhaps should not be in the leadership roles. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're a leader, you're leading people, and people are people. We all come with our baggage or our experiences or our personalities and the way we want to challenge. But that's what the call to leadership is all about, is taking a lot of people with lots of different experiences and ideas and styles and getting them to head in the same direction, albeit in different ways. And if it feels like the only barrier to getting things done is the people, then maybe you shouldn't be in a leadership role.
I mean, again, I love the way you challenge folks to take ownership of their, their response to others, as opposed to blaming them.
Right.
Maybe looking at it more as, how can I view them a little bit differently, and then I might feel differently.
Right. Exactly right.
So if you had a bunch of folks sitting here, what piece of advice about communication would you give to them? Would you give to other leaders?
Well, I would tell them you can never over communicate. In fact, in my experience, when you've reached the point where you feel like you've said something, you've shared your vision, you've talked about a topic so many times you think you can't say it one more time, that you're probably driving people crazy, they're probably actually just starting to hear the idea. So I think we often, as leaders, are so accustomed to the idea or the vision that we're sharing because we've lived with it for a long time, or we've owned it and we think about it 24/7, but you can never over communicate. So keep finding new ways to share that information.
Do you think it's important that, you say it the same way, or do you think it's important that you find different ways to say it, or even both, when you think about over communication?
I think you have lots of different ways to say it and show it, demonstrate it, find ways to connect the ideas to other ideas. People learn differently, and they hear information differently, and they absorb it differently. So I think you've got to be able to communicate those ideas effectively in multiple ways. And then, depending on what it is, you've got to demonstrate it with your actions and your behaviors. And all of those things connect with people differently and allow people to understand, whether it's the direction or the change or whatever it is that you're communicating, they'll understand it differently.
Yeah, you remind me of they won't always remember what you said, but they will remember how you made them feel, right? So I hear you challenging somebody to really engage all of those communication tools, not just the words that you're using.
That's right. That's exactly right.
As you think about this, what other successful business leaders like yourself should be on the podcast? Who are the other Angie Franks that are out there making a difference every day that, we should be paying attention to?
Oh my gosh, there's so many great leaders. I've got some fantastic leaders that work with me on our board of directors at Central Logic that have fascinating experiences. One who is our board chair, Paul Brown. He is the one of the heads of the business school at the University of Utah. Just fascinating, his experiences with early stage companies. And what I think is so phenomenal to hear from him is the kids that are in college and how they're thinking about things and the creative ideas that they have on solving problems. It's fantastic. You should have Jody Hubler, who's the president of Bind, which is a very new insurance model for our healthcare system. She is a phenomenal leader with a ton of organizational development and HR background, and is just somebody I turn to frequently for things related to people and communication and leadership topics. So Jody would be also phenomenal. Boy, there are so many people that I work with every day. Some of our business partners. So if you want names, I could give you names all afternoon.
Well, that's amazing. And again, I did just really encouraging as you think about this, and as audience members are paying attention and thinking, how can they apply this? It's who is in your sphere of influence, around you, who's already out there making it happen, and what can you take away? I always give my shout outs to the Brene Browns, the Simon Sinek's, because they are so powerful in their messaging. But
Right.
I also think those of us that are out there really carrying the bag every day are also really powerful with that message. So we just have to pay attention and find them.
I completely agree.
All right, magic question number 6 for you. Tell us about your favorite boss or teacher who's really influenced you.
Yeah. So my favorite boss, if I described this person, he was someone that challenged me frequently, gave me assignments, projects, opportunities inside the company that we worked at a time where I was pretty early in my career, but had the opportunity to do some things that were well outside of my comfort zone, and was there when I needed help, but wasn't solving the problem for me. And if I needed to be held accountable for something that, maybe I didn't do as great of a job as I could have or should have, he was always supportive. Even in those opportunities, I probably learned more in those situations. He was very challenging, asked questions that forced me to be more prepared than I would have been had it been a leader that didn't force me to think so differently. So I knew I had to come in and be really well organized with my thoughts and ideas. I guess I share all of those kind of characterizations and qualities about this person because they helped shape me as a person and as a leader, because he just challenged me to be better, but supported me when I maybe didn't do as great of a job as I could have or should have.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your ideas and, the vulnerability to share when you were being pushed and challenged to new heights. And I think, we all have experienced that at some point. It's been my pleasure to have you on the show. How can people find you if they want to reach out and say hi or learn more about your organization or you?
Absolutely. They can go to our website, which is centrallogic.com. I'm also out on LinkedIn and would love to connect with people on LinkedIn, but Angie Franks at centrallogic.com or connect with me on LinkedIn.
Well, that's amazing. Again, thank you so much, Angie. It's been awesome having you on the show. And this is Stacy McKibben with the Master Communicator Podcast. For more ideas and insights, please do go check us out at www.concilioteam.com. We look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care.